Oh, hi. We're rolling here, everybody. We had a request to do the radical hydrohalogenation of alkenes in the presence of a peroxide. Here's benzoyl peroxide, the active ingredient in many acne medicines. And it's also the starting molecule for our first initiation step. There's a big clue in the question. You have to do 2 initiation steps. Initiation 1, we got the phenyl, carbonyl, carbonyl phenyl. I could have done it without redrawing it. Make sure you bust this bond in half between the 2 O's. And you're going to get 2 identical benzoyl radicals. Benzoyl-oxy radicals. And one of those is going to take an H in a radical fashion from HBr. HBr. This is just to get the first bromine radical for us. After that, the propagation steps will give us more bromine radicals. So there's your bromine radical. Here's a side product. Not really necessary to show it, but here it is. You only made one of them. And the initiations are over. 2 propagation steps coming up. So P1 in purple. The Br radical. And this is different than our previous mechanism. The Br radical doesn't react with an H like our previous mechanism. This one has a different energy, and it reacts with pi only. So it's going to react with this pi and make the bond to Br. Pi breaks in half and hooks up with the Br. You want to make it happen on the end carbon because the other half wants to go to the more stable secondary carbon to make a radical. You don't want a primary carbon radical. You want a secondary carbon radical. And then P2, you got to react with HBr. This is how the majority of HBr is going to react. HBr, I don't know, change its color. And we're going to get finished here pretty soon. Grab H. Br dot is going to go and do prop 1 after this. And you don't really have to show that H on there. That's the product that we should have circled. It's this one backwards. Yes, this makes anti-Markovnikov alkyl bromide. It's a nice reaction to note. And that is the end of it. Big picture.
So whenever we have this peroxide, it ends up anti-Markovnikov.
Yes, the peroxide is what changes the game. And that's the end of that story. I think we did all the parts.
Doesn't work with
No other HX works either, only HBr. You can use hydrogen peroxide. The only issue there is it's kind of a lab thing. It's hard to get hydrogen peroxide to dissolve in the same solvent as organic alkenes, because the peroxides generally need a little more polar environment, although hydrogen peroxide needs a more polar environment. This one dissolves readily in almost any solvent that's organic. But we're not a lab course here, right? Lecture. We have a question.
Oh, okay. So anytime we see peroxide, we should just assume that it's the anti-Markovnikov?
I believe this is the only time we did see a peroxide, except for our hydroboration/oxidation. So I have to answer your question, no. He's looking for, you're always looking for shortcuts to guide your thinking, right? And his question was, anytime I see a peroxide, I'm going to do the anti-Markovnikov. Now, I have to caution you, we used hydrogen peroxide in a very different reaction with hydroboration/oxidation.
What about,
That's a peroxide. You used it very differently than here. There were no radicals at all.
no, there's no radical.
But it just ends up in.
Yeah, the alcohol ends up anti-Markovnikov for totally different logic, different reasons than here.
Yeah.
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 I mean, if it's helping you keep track of things, that's good logic, yeah. Both the reactions with peroxide, in the end, you're going to end up with an anti-Markovnikov result. And you can use that to help you remember things, but it doesn't have any science behind it. It's just a memory trick. Okay? And there we go.